Just really briefly, in terms of our capital structure, 152 million shares issued, very few warrants, 74 million in working capital. As of today, our market cap's about 1.3 billion. You can see the major shareholders there. We do have a large number of the shares held by long-term shareholders. I'll just briefly talk about the people behind the company as well. We have a group that has a lot of experience in these high-grade orogenic style systems. Denis Laviolette, who's presenting as the president founder of Newfound. Denis recommended the acquisition of this project back in 2017, and then spotted the discovery hole in late 2019, the 19 meters of 93 grams. That kind of was the initial high-grade discovery hole on the property. Denis has a background with Gold Corp, Kirkland Lake Gold, Lakeshore Gold in Canada, and then made a high-grade discovery with extra gold in West Africa, also in greenstone orogenic style gold. He's founded Goldspot, which is a very successful provider of technical services, including artificial intelligence, machine learning methods for discovery, and they're very involved in our program at Queensway. Additional to that, Greg Matheson is our Chief Operating Officer. Greg also has a lot of orogenic gold experience. He's managing a team of about 80 people out in Newfoundland, and Quentin Hennig, who came on board early in the process of discovery, identified epizonal style mineralization on our property in January of 2020, and that was a big breakthrough for us. Subsequently made a significant investment from Novo into Newfound and has come on the board. Doug Hurst recently joined our board. Doug was a founder of Newmarket, which had the Fosterville mine in Australia, was then acquired by Kirkland Lake Gold for $1 billion. And we also have Ken Ratty, who's the former chief geologist for Kirkland Lake Gold. So we've built a pretty good team with experience in this kind of high-grade orogenic mineralization, and Denis has certainly been a founder and leader of the company, and he's going to run through the geology. So Denis, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Craig. Very kind words. I mean, I have to extend a big thank you to Colin and Craig both for their partnership in putting this thing together. Without them and their big brains, we would have never been able to accomplish this. So if I'll start you here on this big map. We've got a map of our overall land package here in Gander. So you can see the Trans-Canada Highway cross-cutting the project. There's high tension power lines. We're very close to the city of Gander here. It's got tremendous access. What we were after, geologically speaking, was this Dog Bay line. This is a continental collision front, essentially between the African plate and the North American plate. This is where these big plates collided, and it forms what's called a suture zone. And what we ended up having was these big cracks that ended up forming on the east side of that, called the Appleton fault zone and the JDP fault zone. And it's after these big cracks that we decided to put this absolutely tremendous land package together on. I'll come back to this slide a little later, but most of the work so far in the public domain has been on the northern portion of the project. So we'll talk about the Appleton fault, which is the one on the left. It was where the most of the historic work was done on the project, and where our very impressive Keats discovery was made. Essentially, Keats was found on a second order structure that stems off of the Appleton fault. We've made a subsequent discovery to that about 2 kilometers north called Lotto, and it's on a similar type of structure. Now, one of the interesting bits, and I'll talk about it shortly at Lotto, or refer to it for a moment, is that when we were drilling through the Lotto mineralization, we extended the hole till we hit the actual Appleton fault. And for the first time, we found mineralization sitting pretty much within the Appleton fault itself, where we yielded a 6.5 meter quartz vein at 18 grams per ton. This has a big impetus on the way that we look at this project and the potential for discovery moving forward. Keats has been obviously the apple of the market's eye and certainly of ours. This is our big discovery. We actually drilled one of the most unattractive areas at first blush on the project. What drew us here was a couple of things. We had a confluence of structures that we liked, but we also had broad, low-grade, prolific gold at surface. And aside from that, there was a lot of smoke, but basically no fire. Other parts of the project had historic works that had much more splashy numbers. We followed up with our first hole here where we hit 19 meters of 93 grams per ton. And that really captured not only our attention, but I think the markets. And subsequent to that, we've been able to grow this quite dramatically. Here on this map, what you see is a footprint of about 400 meters in plan view and growing. And we've been chasing up on our initial discovery. We've got epizonal style mineralization akin to Fosterville. And this is starting really to hang together as one of the most impressive high-grade discoveries that we've seen in Canada, if not the world, for a very, very long time. This is what it looks like in long section. So the gold circles represent circles that we've drilled and we have assays back for. The gray circles represent circles that we've drilled, but we don't have assays back for yet. They're just sitting in the lab. And so what you can see is some impressive continuity and some really impressive grade widths. And so this system continues down plunge. But moreover, we are drilling a fault, a planar feature that is actually mineralized outside of this kind of higher grade chute within that fault, if that makes any sense. Jumping up to Lotto, this is another discovery that we made 2 kilometers north. Lotto is very impressive. Again, dramatic grades here. We've got 2 intervals in our very first hole in Lotto, the first of which 4.75 meters of 41 grams, the second of which being 5 meters of 25 grams in the same hole. So we've had to put Humpty Dumpty back together again here a bit structurally to understand exactly what the controls are, but we think we've got a pretty good handle on it now. And as you can see by our most recent drilling, we've been able to chase up on the high-grade components and deliver new results. So we've got the tiger by the tail here at Lotto, and we're still looking for the big blowout similar to Keats. The style of mineralization, as I mentioned before, is epizonal, as Quinton's pointed out in multiple public disclosures, that we believe that this is akin to Fosterville. It's got the same age, it's got the same mineralogy, it's got the same textures. There's a lot of things that make it the same. Very, very impressive visible gold. In fact, it's the most impressive visible gold system orogenic system I've ever had the pleasure of being a part of and working on. I mean, it's just absolutely bonkers. The types of samples that come out of the ground here consistently, and just the impressive nature of visible gold. And it was like that from the start. We saw this. What made this project interesting was that all over surface, over these massive footprints, we were seeing these types of samples in the quartz floats on surface, in the till cover, in outcrops. It was just absolutely insane. So that really got us excited. I want to talk a little bit about perspective because I know we're running out of time. Keats is this area over here, and I'll point you to it, along a 7.8 kilometer high-grade train of surface mineralization, essentially. So we have surface high-grade samples across a 7.8 kilometer footprint, and Keats is already looking world-class, and it's basically this little tiny spot about halfway along that trend. Lotto is 2 kilometers up, and we've got plenty more to discover. We're only a quarter of the way through our exploration program, and we still have so much more to look at. JBP, 12.4 kilometers of high grade at surface. This project is absolutely massive. To think that we were the luckiest people on Earth to drill our very first hole into the Keats zone when testing this massive system, and that there wouldn't be another Keats or several more, would almost be a statistical impossibility. If you can imagine perspective again, 7.8 kilometers, and Keats so far is only down to about 250 meters deep, vertical from surface. And so we have so much more to go, both in the horizontal. So we're looking at the 2D footprint and scale of this, but there's a 3D component. This could go down 1,000 meters. And so how many more zones can we find in that 3D footprint on a land package of this magnitude? And that's what really starts to boggle the mind and get us beyond excited. If I flip back to our original slide here that I graced over, what I showed you here was 7.8 kilometers on this northern side and another 12.4 kilometers on JBP of surface high grade. Great structural preparation, high grade samples everywhere. We're currently exploring that with the drill. Here on the south, we have 70-kilometer extensions of both of these. And again, perspective, think 3D. 70 kilometers extension of both of these systems with massive till and float anomalies, the order of magnitude of these 6 by 4 kilometers. We've been going there now. It's still in pick and shovel mode. We're looking to trench these areas. We've done a bit of trenching last year, and we're advancing the southern block for eventual drilling. And so the idea with Newfound Gold is that we're not looking for 1 million ounces of gold. We're not even looking for one deposit. We're looking for a district that could have many deposits on it, many mines. That's what gets us excited. And that's what we're hoping to do, even with this first pass of a couple 100,000 meters. We're hopefully going to prove that up on the northern side, take all of our knowledge, everything we know, everything we've learned on the north, and apply it to the south so that we can better the odds. Thank you very much. That wraps up everything we'd like to discuss today.